During the variety show, both my sister and I inadvertently fell into the water, and my husband, Leonard, unhesitatingly jumped in to rescue my sister. He departed without a backward glance, embracing her with distress and urgency, leaving me to be rescued by the staff only after nearly sinking to the lake's bottom. The following day, as I presented the divorce agreement to Leonard, he scowled and said, "Lena cannot swim, which is why I saved her first. Are you jealous over this?" I gazed calmly into his eyes and replied, "Yes, sign it." Leonard and I calmly obtained the divorce certificate. Though he persistently furrowed his attractive brows, it no longer elicited any emotional response from me. He pocketed the certificate and offered, "I'll see you off." I shook my head, "No need." Perhaps displeased with my demeanor, Leonard said, "Sylvia, you need not act this way. After all, we shared 3 years, and divorce does not imply we must become strangers forever." For a fleeting moment, I was stunned, scarcely believing such words could emerge from Leonard's mouth, especially since Lena had returned, and he ought to be pleased that I tactfully made way for them. "Leonard," I said, "to me, divorce signifies a complete severance, not family, nor even friends. Moreover, we have no children, rendering further contact unnecessary." Infuriated by my words, Leonard turned and left. I watched his departing figure and sighed helplessly, though thoughts of my bank account balance swiftly dispelled any lingering discontent. Though I am the second daughter of the Shin family, I received little financial support from them. Paradoxically, the divorce transformed me into a modestly wealthy woman, as the Hua family would not permit an equal division, leading me to request only 20 million when instructing my lawyer to draft the agreement. Leonard consented and additionally granted me 2 luxurious residences in New York and Los Angeles, 3 domestic properties, and 6 commercial units in prime locations, assets sufficient to ensure my lifelong financial security. Observing these impersonal figures, I suddenly burst into laughter. It was splendid. I could now begin living for myself. Within a single day post-divorce, I relocated expeditiously into a centrally located apartment, its registration under my name conferring an unprecedented sense of security. I had anticipated that departing from Leonard would plunge me into anguish and despair, given my love for him during our 3-year marriage, yet, unexpectedly, I slept exceptionally well that night, a long-absent relaxation allowing me to slumber until noon the next day. Leonard and I were united through a business-arranged marriage, orchestrated by Grandfather Hua and Grandfather Shen, comrades who bonded through life and death experiences. However, this union was originally intended for Lena, the rose nurtured by the Shin family for 18 years, whereas I was their biological child, swapped at birth. An individual like Leonard, a prodigy and heir, was beyond my reach for acquaintance, let alone affection, until, at 18, the Shin parents reclaimed me, tearfully asserting that I was their true daughter, separated due to a nurse's error. At that juncture, I resided in a welfare institution. Witnessing my parents arrive in a luxury vehicle, I presumed future days would be comfortable, at least free from scavenging. Refused to fund tuition, as the orphanage's poverty precluded education for all children. Yet, I encountered neither parental remorse nor compensation, only indifference. I reasoned that access to education sufficed, and they explained that the false heiress's parents were deceased, thus she would not be expelled, though their daily treatment of us diverged starkly. I resembled not the second lady of this household but the maid's daughter. It was only when my parents directed me toward a business marriage that I learned the handsome youth Lena had shadowed had suffered a grave accident, rendering his leg permanently impaired, destined to limp henceforth. Lena wept and declared she would never wed a cripple, thus this duty fell upon me. Though I could have declined, the memory of that once radiant face under the sun, unseen for a year, inexplicably compelled my assent. At 20, on the cusp of my sophomore year, my parents arranged a leave of absence, and I married at a relatively tender age. Upon meeting him, he erupted in fury, shattering a vase near my feet and demanding Lena, who had long since departed abroad with our parents' credit card. The Shin parents' enterprise depended on the Hua family. Unwilling to marry a lame man, Lena necessitated someone to fortify the Hua-Shin alliance, thrusting me forward. It marked the first instance my mother, Grace, extended kindness, weeping about familial hardships, Lena's pitiable state, and Philip's graying hair. Unmoved, I retorted, "Why say all this? My desire to marry stems not from them, but from Leonard himself." As a freshman, when Leonard was a senior, He was renowned as the campus heartthrob and bully, inundated with confessions on the wall and overtures from elite daughters, yet only Lena stood by him then. Consequently, Lena became the object of widespread adulation, proudly proclaiming her unique hold over Leonard's heart, an unassailable position. I admired physical beauty, yet I was more captivated by his academic prowess. His obsession with mathematics and rigorous research yielded numerous SCI publications, each of which I studied, resolving several of my own academic impasses. His talent won me over, transitioning from admiration to love with ease. On our wedding day, Leonard remained unsmiling throughout, while I, gripped by nerves, incessantly wiped sweaty hands, nearly stumbling as he took my hand. The surrounding laughter branded me as gauche. Faintly hearing Lena's name, Leonard's expression darkened further, leading me to surmise he loved her. Why else would he harbor such resentment toward me? Prompting a fleeting regret for both my marriage and unrequited affection. That night, Leonard unleashed his frustrations upon me. Though his impaired leg hindered him, in significant pain, I overpowered him, preventing his movement, and instead positioned myself atop him. Entering gradually soon, our breaths grew labored, his face flushed, and I succumbed to my own motions. The household lacked internal strife, affording me greater ease than at the shins. I relished reading and continued exploring academic challenges, undeterred by my academic hiatus. Leonard, initially absent for days, began returning home punctually each evening, messaging me his whereabouts despite a demanding schedule. I acquired massage techniques from a seasoned traditional Chinese physician, hypothesizing that Leonard's leg might gradually improve through such therapy, initiating the practice after timidly sharing my notion with him. Over time, I honed my massaging skills, mastering human acupuncture points within 6 months. Leonard transitioned from initial resistance to acceptance, eventually anticipating my daily half-hour sessions, during which I sensed my hands growing stronger. Life felt monotonous, so when delivering forgotten documents to Leonard at the company, a short drama editor spotted me, inquiring if I'd consider portraying their third female lead, a studious character, deeming my disposition fitting. I inexplicably agreed, and Leonard raised no objections. Unexpectedly, the drama soared to popularity, garnering me fans as the third lead, an invigorating novelty, as I had never envisioned entering the entertainment sphere, so alien to my prior existence. The empire spanned numerous industries, with Yunfei Entertainment a minor facet. Leonard permitted my pursuits provided I refrained from leveraging the name, gradually leading to my acquisition of an agent, Linda, an assistant, and roles as the 4th, 5th, or 6th female characters in major intellectual properties. I emerged as a minor actress, occasionally finding amusement scrolling through Instagram, lying in bed chuckling as I read fan comments to Leonard, one hand massaging his leg. Unwittingly pressing an unfamiliar spot, Leonard groaned, assuming I'd caused pain. I discarded my phone to check, only to be pinned to the bed by him. Kissing ensued naturally, progressing seamlessly, our synchronicity enhancing as we both derived joy therefrom. Thenceforth, our relationship advanced markedly. He brought me favored cakes, purchased clothing and jewelry, and occasionally took me to films or lakeside strolls. We resembled a typical couple, and Leonard's leg improved under my massages, a recovery physicians deemed miraculous. When walking slowly, his limp was imperceptible. In our 3rd year of marriage, Lena returned. That day, Leonard unusually refrained from lingering with me, and my parents, rare callers in those years, requested our return. Lena had been absent for 3 years, never returning. During our sole New Year gathering, Philip and Grace awkwardly cited her academic commitments. Leonard sat silently, his face icy, his thoughts opaque to me. As their biological daughter, I had scarcely revisited the Shin household since marrying, yet their preferential treatment persisted unabated. Upon returning to the Shin residence with Leonard, a graceful young woman flung herself into his arms like a gust. I observed from beside, noting he did not repel her. The woman in his embrace had matured considerably, yet still called him brother repeatedly, her copious tears soaking Leonard's suit. Witnessing this, my heart felt pierced by needles, and I profoundly regretted consenting to return to the Shin home. Noticing me nearby, Lena straightened, saying, "Sorry, little sister, I was just too excited." Brother Leonard, oh, no, should I now call you brother-in-law? Leonard's temple twitched as he coldly grasped my hand to sit. Lena gazed at us in astonishment, and the meal was vexing. Neither Philip nor Grace inquired about my recent well-being, instead relentlessly encouraging Lena and Leonard to converse, noting how Lena had always thought of her brother Leonard. It abruptly struck me that my parents seemed intent on promoting Lena. From that day, she buzzed around Leonard and me incessantly, like a fly, and within a month, Leonard shifted from resistance to acceptance. Aspiring to enter the entertainment industry, Lena was assigned Yunfei Entertainment's top agent by Leonard. She frequented the Hua building as if its mistress, leading all to assume she was Mrs. Hua, given my concealed identity and unrecognized connection to Leonard there. In contrast, Lena brazenly called Leonard with coquetry, delivering takeout to his office. After my initial visit met his cold rebuke, I never returned, and others presumed me a minor actress angling for the president's favor. Lena's innocent charm, bolstered by Leonard's endorsement, soon propelled her to fame, with resources increasingly allocated to her. When Linda inquired if I knew her, I denied it, prompting Linda to vent about Lena's gossip, her arrogance and penchant for seizing endorsements via her presidential ties. Only after losing 3 endorsements did I realize Lena was targeting me. Leonard, since my entry into this industry, offered me no favoritism, ignoring me in the building, yet I hadn't contemplated divorce then, for I genuinely liked him. Not until an incident trivial to him did I first feel that Leonard and I could not continue. It stemmed from a popular outdoor variety show that invited both Lena and me, proceeding harmoniously, Lena embodying a vivacious flower, while I diligently shone in the games. That day, Leonard atypically visited the set, with directors eagerly engaging him. The mishap occurred then. The dilapidated lakeside bamboo bridge collapsed under Lena and me. Both Lena and I plunged into the lake, sparking chaos as staff prepared to dive in. Unexpectedly, Leonard was the first to leap into the water. Unable to swim, I assumed Leonard descended to save me, his wife, yet, seeing him seize Lena and swim shoreward, my heart abruptly unclenched, with one realization: after 3 years together, he did not love me. As if oblivious to my own submersion, Leonard scooped Lena into his Maybach with palpable urgency and concern. Sinking to the lakebed, I glimpsed only the car's retreating silhouette. By the time staff retrieved me, I had lost consciousness. Coincidentally, all assumed another would rescue me, but Leonard's intervention distracted them, and only the assistant director's shout alerted them to my presence. I was urgently hospitalized, halting the show. Upon awakening, only my agent Linda was beside me, her eyes red with fright, though I moved and felt largely unscathed. "Linda, I'm not dead," I said. She spat thrice, exclaiming, "You scared me to death." "Sylvia, how unlucky you are. Leonard's ostentatious rescue of that schemer made everyone forget you. Are you upset?" "Not upset," I replied. My heart was serene. I had naively believed Leonard and I were a united couple, but reality struck harshly, convincing me our bond had reached its end. Discharged that afternoon, I saw Leonard supporting Lena, my parents trailing behind, smiling as if a joyful family. Lena leaned feebly on him as my parents tenderly draped her in a coat. They seemed to have entirely forgotten me. Staring at their retreating figures, I dialed the lawyer Linda recommended, instructing him to draft a divorce agreement. Answering a call without checking, I heard, "Sylvia, why didn't you inform the family about your divorce? Making such a hasty decision, do you even regard your parents?" Irritated, I scratched my ear, finding the noise grating, and snapped, "Will you ever stop?" After a brief pause, more reproaches followed. "Sylvia, have you grown too bold, speaking to me thus? Who are we doing this for, if not you?" "For me?" I laughed bitterly, nearly enraged. "Don't you find that laughable yourself, Grace? Have you ever genuinely cared for me? Your concern over the divorce is merely fear for the Shenhua interests, but fret not, you have Lena, whom you're desperate to position near Leonard to supplant me, aren't you?" "Let me guess," I continued. "Lena, seeing Leonard upon her return, now desires him again, just as when she rejected him, you whisked her away overnight, and now that she wants him back, you're frantically matchmaking, heedless that he's my husband." Grace faltered, her retort devolving into mumbles. "Sylvia, how can you speak of your mother so?" Drop the act," I scoffed. "I often wonder, am I not your flesh and blood? The DNA test confirmed it, so why don't you love me? Didn't my years of hardship pain you? Shouldn't you have frantically compensated me upon my return, doubling your kindness? You treasure the unrelated one like a jewel, while I, your own, was relegated to the maid's room, forced to abandon university for a marriage alliance. Post-marriage, you never called to check on me, summoning me home only once because Lena returned and wished to see Leonard. How could we not love you? Aren't you afraid of ridicule? They stammered. Enough, Grace, our ties end here. Rely on Lena for the what connection, pretend I don't exist, and never call me again, I'm blocking you. I hung up, blocked, and deleted them in one sweep, claiming no pain would be false, yet in my brief life, this seemed trivial. I exhaled and purchased an overseas flight ticket. I enrolled in classes swiftly, intent on resuming my education abroad. I joined an IELTS course and contacted freshman year seniors, whose lab collaborations had earned me several professors' commendations. I hadn't anticipated their recommendation letters or ongoing praise for my past papers. Life suddenly felt wondrous. Why be a wealthy housewife? Fortunately, it wasn't too late. 3 years married, I remained youthful, laughter curving my lips as a new chapter dawned. 5 months later, Yale University's acceptance email sent my heart racing, a testament that effort yields reward. I shared this joy solely with Linda, who, despite my costly contract termination, supported me wholeheartedly, forging our friendship. Upon learning of my 3-year marriage to Leonard, Linda was so stunned her cigarette fell, scorching my Russian carpet. Linda lambasted Leonard's vileness and Lena's duplicity. She saw me off to my U.S. flight, nearly tearful, wishing me grand success. I smiled, embarking on my academic journey. Studying abroad proved challenging. I rented a spacious, bright apartment and hired a Chinese aunt accompanying her child to cook, unwilling to shortchange myself as a modestly wealthy woman. Rigorous studies soon immersed me. My amiable classmates and exceptional aptitude secured my admission to the AI lab, where Brian, a brilliant Chinese senior, impressed me academically, our exchanges deepening my appreciation for technology's grandeur. Amid another heated debate with Brian on AI and algorithm design, my phone rang. I answered unthinkingly, irritation lingering, while Brian gazed at me tenderly, his eyes twinkling like stars. "Hello, Sylvia," came the voice. Glancing at the unknown number, I recognized Leonard instantly. "What's up? Where are the ruby cufflinks you bought me?" "In the tuxedo pocket in the wardrobe. I can't find that dark blue plaid jacket either." "It was sent for dry cleaning. Hasn't anyone picked it up?" Silence ensued. I pondered, surely the staff hadn't neglected it for 5 or 6 months. "Also, where did you learn to massage?" "My leg's hurting again." "From Master Lou at Ueha Hall. You could hire someone to learn and massage you." Gripping the phone, I grew irked, uncertain of Leonard's true intent. "How have you been lately?" "Quite well, Leonard. If that's all, I'll hang up." No. "Sylvia, I miss you." What, Lena's not around?" Leonard's voice bore fatigue and fragility, less resonant than before. "I've nothing with her," I explained clearly. "Lena can't swim. Why won't you believe me?" "Forget it, Leonard. Don't call me again." I hung up abruptly, my earlier vigor dissipating like a deflated balloon, pouting as I sat. Brian leaned in suddenly. "Broken up?" "Yes." "Reluctant?" "What's to miss about a cheater?" I chuckled. "You're so sure he cheated?" Brian regarded me earnestly. "Certain you know where his clothes are, the massage techniques, you invested much in this relationship. If it ended, he must have wronged you." His solemn words pierced me, my nose stinging as tears flowed uncontrollably. Indeed, I'd given much. Outsiders grasped this, so why couldn't Leonard? Tears surged forth unchecked. In those misunderstood years, I'd earnestly devoted myself to family and love, yet failed in both. Abruptly enveloped in a warm embrace, he patted my back gently without force. "It's over, you're remarkable. Their loss." I wept quietly on Brian's shoulder, allowing myself this unrestrained cry. In subsequent days, I bickered with Brian, our bond deepening. I invited him for Aunt Wong's cooking and shared domestic snacks Linda mailed. Back home, Linda chatted with me more often, mentioning online reports of the Hua president and Shen heiress nearing marriage, with the Shen website liking the Instagram post. "Damn, isn't this blatantly obvious?" I mused. "Lena's adept at piggybacking. I suspect she orchestrated the leak." I smiled lightly, chatting while toying with Brian's gifted Lego. The next day, domestic gossip unexpectedly involved me. Brian sent a screenshot, asking if it pertained to me. Clicking the link, I read someone's revelation of me as Leonard's secret wife, with others noting his set visits involved no words to me, only frequent interaction with Lena. The entertainment world exalts and debases. They dubbed Lena Leonard's true love, his close friends calling her their trailing little sister, childhood sweethearts with him, claiming I'd intercepted him. They even exposed the true-false heiress saga. In an interview, Lena tearfully claimed fearing eviction after my return, studying abroad to prove herself, only to find Leonard taken by me upon returning. Fans vilified me as shameless, accusing me of stealing her boyfriend during her absence, insisting Lena and Leonard were the perfect match, stoic president and pure flower, obsessively shipping them with rampant photoshopped fan art. I laughed at these half-truths, unperturbed. What did it matter to me? But Brian fumed. Did you really like that Leonard so much then? His jealous tone catching me off guard, stirring unease. Sensing the awkwardness, Brian swiftly added, I didn't expect you dabbled in entertainment, a gifted woman excelling everywhere. Just average, I laughed. That night, Leonard called again, urgently assuring me he'd quashed online rumors, claiming he and Lena were history. Impossible together. I cut him off. Leonard, we're divorced, please don't contact me again, and tell Lena that habitual lying brings consequences. Next time, I won't let her slander me. Sylvia, don't hang up, I miss you. I pursed my lips and hung up, thinking, you say don't hang up, and I obey? Who are you? Logging into Instagram after nearly a year, I posted chat logs of my parents urging the marriage alliance, alongside redacted marriage and divorce certificates. The logs evidenced Lena's adamant refusal to marry Leonard and her insistence on studying abroad. I appended, I didn't steal, slander is illegal, Lena. That night, the internet reeled Lena, a trending starlet, amplified any news. Even Philip and Grace messaged me to return home, absurdly assuming I remained in China after 6 months abroad, my studies too demanding to heed them. After days of brewing, online exposés surged. Engrossed in studies, I was oblivious to the dramatic domestic reversal. First, someone revealed Lena's mere 200+ college entrance score, funding a sham foreign university, while my 698-point score marked me a top student, inexplicably attending Peking University for just 1 year. Shock rippled Peking University, yet I ceased. Netizens speculated I married Leonard, snagging a wealthy catch and abandoning studies, branding me a gold digger. Then, Peking University seniors rallied. Aunt Sylvia, in 1 year, published numerous papers, excelling academically, aiding our senior experiments with projects completed by this freshman, her prowess astounding. More crucially, do you know where she is now? Many claimed my Yunfei Entertainment exit stemmed from offending Lena, resulting in a ban. The senior sneered, your minds fixate on romance and entertainment. My direct junior, Sylvia, is a Yale talent. My mentor says she remains a top student there, now at a pivotal stage in computer engineering. Netizens erupted, no way, true or false. That minor actress Sylvia, a Yale talent? The one from the breakout short drama? Right, I recall Sylvia played a scholar, true to herself. If she was Leonard's secret wife, why didn't he promote her, favoring Lena instead? He didn't love her. Spot on. Love or lack thereof is clear. I heard during the show, when Lena and Sylvia fell in, Leonard saved only Lena, leaving Sylvia behind. No way, poor Sylvia. Family alliances versus childhood bonds differ so. I pity her, wed to an unloving man enamored with her non-blood sister. Online revelations multiplied. Fearing exposure, Lena sought Leonard, who refused her, clearing Sylvia's online mentions instead, instructing his assistant to tell her to focus on acting, not emotions. Since learning online of Sylvia's Yale tenure, Leonard's heart raced incessantly. Regretting the divorce from the outset, he recalled countless nights of her gentle leg massages, lamenting his consent. Couldn't Sylvia understand his mere childhood tie with Lena? He hastened to the U.S., desperate to see Sylvia, but she was in a month-long, sealed experimental phase, forcing his fruitless return. Then, the internet upheaved again. Overnight, Lena's scandals flooded forth, materialism and promiscuity abroad, flaunting wealth in revealing attire, smoking, starkly contrasting her current innocent image. Netizens, stunned, recalled her 200+ exam score, a clear underachiever studying diligently abroad seemed implausible, her claim to follow Leonard's path a jest. She bullied peers and targeted disliked girls, each act warranting online exile. The internet commenced her condemnation. Yet it persisted. A former maid disclosed their mistreatment of Sylvia, who, raised in a welfare home funding tuition via bottle collection, received no recompense upon return, the family favoring the false heiress Lena doubly. The maid wept, the second miss excels academically and in character, but the shins are blind. Logically, a suffering biological daughter should receive the best upon return, yet they housed her in the maid's room, while Lena got the entire second floor, her room smaller than Lena's bathroom. She said sleeping sufficed. How is this treating one's own? We couldn't bear it. And Lena two-faced, daily lamenting her redundancy, spurring the shins to favor her more, infuriating us servants. Most outrageous, after Leonard's accident left him lame, Lena refused him, unwilling to marry a cripple. With the Shenhua betrothal requiring a daughter, they sent the second miss. Scoring nearly 700, the second miss entered a top university, yet Grace abruptly enforced her leave. Lena, with over 200 points, took a credit card abroad for 3 carefree years, visited monthly by the Shins. Netizens were appalled. The Shins' shamelessness was revolting, sparking a collective online assault on the family, denouncing the vile parents. Lena's scandals flowed unabated. A video surfaced of her abroad, in a skimpy skirt atop a table, tossing dollars to frenzied Chinese and foreigners below. A similarly clad girl asked how she was so rich, hugging her friend. Lena laughed, "Of course, my parents are wealthy. Know what? I'm not blood related, but so what? They spoil me, neglecting their real daughter. Aren't they fools?" Unaware her words were recorded. She even bragged about Leonard. "You don't know I scored 200 and got abroad, but Sylvia, with over 600, was made to marry a cripple, my leftovers. Leonard's handsome, well off, but who'd tolerate a cripple? Unsure if it's broken down there. Even if not, a lame guy can't perform well, and I can't stand that." Her friends guffawed, joking crudely, "You could move yourself." "Get lost, I'm only served," Lena retorted, then French kissed a blonde, blue-eyed hunk. The video exploded online, amassing tens of millions of views. Lena was done for. In the office, Leonard clutched his phone, watching Lena mock dead cripple, a stifling weight in his chest impeding breath. Sylvia's gentle shadow emerged, massaging his leg, holding hands at movies, feeding him ice cream, awaiting his return daily. His mind reeled. He'd harmed his wife for such a wretch. Leonard felt the world spin. His assistant held breath as Lena burst in, sobbing, "Brother Leonard, online stuff's fake, believe me." Security barred her. All had seen her video. No one tolerated her cursing their boss a dead cripple. Leonard raised a ruthless gaze. "Shin family fine, cancel all ties, ban Lena." "Yes," his assistant nodded, "contacting parties." Leaning back defeated, Leonard recalled the maid's online accusations, his wife's past misery, a true heiress in a maid's room. He longed to slap himself, desperate to see Sylvia. He flew privately to Yale again without delay. This time, he saw Sylvia, more radiant than ever. Emerging from the lab to bask in sunlight, she spotted red-eyed Leonard, unaware of online events. She approached resignedly. "What are you doing here?" "Sylvia, I miss you." "No, Leonard, we're divorced. Think of Lena." "I can't be with her, never was, never will. I only love you, Sylvia." "What? Are you deranged, Leonard?" "I said I never want to see you again." Defeated, he slumped. "Sylvia, I know it all. Shin mistreatment, Lena's deeds. I was blind before. No more. I'll bankrupt Shin, give it to you, okay?" I eyed him askance, baffled by his madness. "Sylvia, we were good. I thought your divorce was peak." "I've always missed you. Nothing happened with Lena. I'm clean, trust me." "What's it to me if you had nothing with her?" "Leonard, we're divorced. We can remarry, please. I swear I'll be good only to you." He sought an answer eagerly, but I couldn't provide it. "No more to say, Leonard. I don't like you anymore, won't remarry." "Leave." Leonard felt his heart wrenched out, trembling as he stared. Suddenly, I saw him cry. "Are you mad, Leonard? Look at yourself." Before I could continue, a force pulled me into an embrace. Looking up, Brian glared at Leonard. "Why are you here?" "Don't harass my girlfriend." Leonard snapped his gaze to me. Sylvia, he's lying, you're not his girlfriend, right? I sighed. Yes, he is, so stop harassing me, Leonard, let's part amicably. Brian led me away, leaving a desolate Leonard. Leonard's perspective. The Shin company collapsed within a month. Philip and Grace begged tearfully, but I was unmoved recalling their treatment of Sylvia. My heart ached unbearably. For Lena, I had her reported for drug use abroad. She was jailed for over a decade, with arrangements for her to be well attended inside. I wanted her to pay for her actions. I offered Shin to Sylvia, but she disdained it. Brian, beside her, was the Bow family's favored son, who adored her. I was unworthy now. She shone brilliantly in academia. I trembled watching their affection, my leg aching intermittently. It would never heal, mirroring my irreparable rift with Sylvia. Monthly, I traveled to the US to glimpse her from afar. She'd angrily confronted me several times, telling me to leave, unwilling to see me again. Yet I couldn't let go. I missed her terribly. Watching the show's drowning video, I saw myself rush to Lena unhesitatingly, my wife gazing despairingly as I left with Lena, unturning. Why did I forget her then? Seeing Sylvia sink, my heart clenched. No one saved her. Her despair drove her resolute divorce. Rightly so. I couldn't forgive myself either. I tormented myself with the video. Sylvia sinking, rescued lifelessly. The next day, I thought only of Lena, not her. I was vile then, mistaking trash for treasure, losing her forever. I'd dismissed it as trivial, shameless, committing unforgivable wrong, blaming it so lightly. My Sylvia nearly died in that lake. Her divorce was just my punishment. I loathed myself. Had Lena punished again, it's her fault. That wretch, I'd make her life hell. The Shins soon died in a gutter, their fitting end. A year later, I saw online Sylvia's research triumph. She shone, universally lauded, a true Yale talent. Leonard never remarried. My parents bore a brother. I waited for Sylvia's wedding, her lovely daughter's birth. I basely wished Brian would stray, so I could reclaim Sylvia, but their happiness thrived. Brian's loving gaze never left her. He professed his love freely, as if proclaiming it globally. Even I felt its weight. Could I rival it? Wonderful, Sylvia, this is the love you cherish. My study brimmed with Sylvia's photos, even childhood ones. Tattered clothes, runny nose, yet beaming. Gazing at them, I wept. I never truly knew her. Not foolish. Why didn't I learn more about my wife in those lovely days? I loved her. Just in my early 20s, a mere student, she, with such a harsh, pitiful past, came to me brimming with love. Yet countless times, I jolted awake, praying it was a dream. Sylvia and I growing happier, ignoring Lena's return. Most agonizing was dreaming of that lake submerging Sylvia. Others said I could find any woman without Sylvia or Lena. Many would suit me, but I didn't want them. I couldn't forget her. I recalled our first year, Sylvia massaging my leg daily, saying it had reshaped muscle. In 3 years, I went from limping to near normal walking. Love builds life, yet I severed it. Sylvia, I'm sorry. I love you.